the ECHL Insider. I am your host, Garrett Hunter. Excited to talk about another exciting week of ECHL hockey. A lot of three-game series last week, so let's get you right to some scores from last week's action. The Greenville Swamp Rabbits took 2 out of 3 off the Florida Everblades at home last weekend. The first win being 5-1, and then that exciting 3-2 overtime winner, and then the Florida Everblades would respond in Game 3 with a 5-4 victory. The Worcester Railers took 2 out of 3 in St. John's, Newfoundland over the Growlers, a 5-4 victory and a 2-1 overtime victory. The only victory for the Growlers was a 4-0 shutout. And if you like goals, that Norfolk Reading game was your game. 6-5 overtime winner for the Reading Royals over the Admirals. But for the Admirals, what an impressive start for them after the awful year that they had last season. They've looked a lot better, a lot more offensively explosive than they did last season. Let's get you now to the top 5 games of the week. Coming in at number 5, the Wheeling Nailers travel to Fort Wayne, Indiana, taking on the Comets on a Sunday afternoon. Playoff series from 2 years ago. These teams don't really like each other. Big division foe here. So I think this should be an interesting game. A lot of good matchups between these two teams coming up in the near future. Fort Wayne, a lot of good close games and a lot of not good close games between them and the Toledo Walleye early in the season. They have more games against the Toledo Walleye coming up this week. So at Fort Wayne, you get to see a different opponent other than Toledo finally. Got to see if they can take advantage at home on Sunday afternoon. At number 4, the Greenville Swamp Rabbits Tuesday night game in Atlanta. And oh my gosh, the Atlanta Gladiators, 8-0 right now. That's one win away from the ECHL record set by the Worcester Railers last year. They started out 9-0. But as we remember, 9-0 start for the Railers, but they did not make the playoffs. So how you start, not necessarily how you finish. Gladiators got to keep that in mind, but they got a lot of hard games this week, and it starts on Tuesday night against the Swamp Rabbits. At number 3 is the Kansas City Mavericks, still hot, but they travel to the BOK Center to take on the Oilers on a Thursday night. Tulsa also finished last in their division last year, but they've done a lot better this year. I think Tulsa will be able to provide that big test that Kansas City's been looking for. At number 2 is the Cincinnati Cyclones with a Friday-Saturday weekend 2-game set in Worcester. Railers have looked good with that 2 out of 3 series win last week, but Cincinnati comes in hot on a 4-game win streak for the Clones. But obviously, Worcester's not messing around, so I think this will be a great game. I think Cincinnati, you're looking to keep that offense alive. Really good last week, so they'll look to keep that going in a tough road environment in Worcester, Massachusetts. In our top game of the week, the 8-0 Atlanta Gladiators travel to Southwest Florida Friday and Saturday, taking on the Florida Everblades. Two teams in very different spots right now. Atlanta, under first-year head coach Derek Nesbitt, under just a historic start for the Gladiators. 8-0, they seem unbeatable right now. Obviously, before these 2 games take place, they'll take on that Swamp Rabbits game on Tuesday night. But for the Florida Everblades, it's been a little bit of a slow start. They have back-to-back weeks now, lost 2 games out of 3 to 2 rivals. 2 out of 3 lost to Orlando Solar Bears 2 weeks ago, and then last week lost 2 games out of 3 to the Greenville Swamp Rabbits. So Florida, it's been slow the last few weeks, but they look to get 2 huge victories at home against the Gladiators. Now make sure to check out our fight of the week, Trois Rivières and Adirondack. Some checks were thrown, people didn't like it, and it got scrappy on Sunday afternoon. Leave your comment of who you think won that fight. I think it was really close. Love to hear what you guys have to say about that. Make sure to subscribe to our channel below. Leave your comment about who won the fight, and we'll talk to you next week.
Isley upended with a knee, and now here we go. Will McKinnon gonna drop the gloves at center ice with Nolan Larenko. Yaremko and McKinnon. McKinnon gets one in right away. And now the helmet is off of Yaremko. McKinnon's helmet still on, and McKinnon comes and fires it right. They still lock up, and then McKinnon takes him down. Will